It
Good
says we are
evening, good
live.
evening. You're probably gonna need to come in a little bit. I can scoot that way so you can come in. All right, what's going
Hello.
on, everyone? Good evening, good evening. Welcome back. Another Thursday. Trying to get some stuff figured out. Made some changes to the scenery. Heading into season three. Once again, Thursday nights, 9:30 Eastern. Fuck Your Feelings, the show. What's going on, everyone? We're going to be pushing the show on Instagram for a while longer, but we're primarily pushing it on StreamYard, which is plugged into Facebook.
YouTube, Robert.
Which is pushed directly to YouTube, and we'll probably add Facebook on in there also. But for those of you that have popped in already, thanks for joining. And we're a little disheveled because of changes, technical difficulties.
I'm hoping you guys can hear us well because we've gotten these new mics. Rob got these new mics, and I'm not sure how they work. So
What's
please
up?
let
What's
us know
up?
that you
What's up,
can.
sis? Yeah, if you can chime in real quick, how's the audio on the IG feed? Can everybody hear us over there? For sure. Appreciate that, sis. And yeah, so we about to have a pretty interesting conversation tonight. Want to see what y'all got. Feel feel free to hop in and chime in and type, text, and maybe even send a request. We'll figure out how we're going to work everything tonight. It's kind of a changes
Trying to figure it all out.
changes dry run before we officially head into season three. Again, new set, new vibe. I'm gonna change the feel up a little bit, a little different equipment, and yeah, just trying to keep it going. But tonight, yeah, that's an interesting meme that you found there.
Because I think when we think of the idea of in our culture prenups, right? Kanye talks about it in Gold Digger, right? If you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup. We want prenup. Yeah, it's something that you need to have because once you leave your ass, you're gonna leave with
Yeah, you just broke it right on down. For those not familiar with it, that is Kanye's classic Gold Digger. Then there's the famous story of Sir Stephen Jackson, who, after his girlfriend, maybe even baby mama, hemmed and hawed about signing the prenup for over a year, left her the day of the wedding at the altar. Like, I guess that's really if you ain't no punk, holla, we want prenup.
He wasn't having
And
it.
he wasn't having it, and it got ugly, basically,
Got real
from
ugly.
the way he tells it, because he was with a bunch of other NBA dudes who was definitely like in support of moves like that. Because yeah, I guess we gonna that's kind of a great place to kind of start the show. We gonna pause for a little moment while we allow folks a chance to jump in and stuff. But I think that's a great place is just to talk about and define what is a prenup, man.
What is a
Like,
prenup? Where
what
is
is a
my
prenup? I
remote?
think there's a lot of misconception about what that do, what that really means. Why would a dude even ask for that? The proverbial, oh, if he really loved you, he wouldn't care about no prenup. Man, that's like the greatest line of all time. Like, yes, son, you about to get a tight fade if she say that to you, because she's literally incentivized to divorce you, bro.
So, a prenuptial agreement, or commonly referred to as a prenup, is a written contract entered into by a couple prior to marriage or a civil union that enables them to select and control many of the legal rights they acquire upon marrying and what happens when their marriage eventually ends by death or divorce. Couples enter into a written prenuptial agreement to supersede many of the default marital laws that would otherwise apply in the event of a divorce, such as the laws that govern the division of property, retirement benefits, savings, and the right to seek alimony, aka spousal support, with agreed upon terms that provide certainty and clarify their marital rights. A premarital agreement may also contain waivers of a surviving spouse's right to claim an elective share of the estate of the deceased spouse. In some countries, including the United States, Belgium, and the Netherlands, the prenuptial agreement not only provides for what happens in the event of a divorce, but also to protect some property during the marriage. For instance, in case of bankruptcy, many countries, including Canada, France, Italy, and Germany, have matrimonial regimes in addition to, or some cases, in lieu of prenuptial agreements. So the reality is a prenup is supposed to protect you, because if you're in a situation where you have default marital laws, like just completely default, like some places
California.
California, it's automatically 50%, right? Like as a Canadian, we've got federal laws. Well, you guys have state laws. So depending on the state you're in, the divorce laws are different, but depending in Canada, federal laws are federal laws. Wherever you are, whatever province, it is what it is. And so for me, I've always been like, I don't understand why prenups are assigned to feelings. It's devoid of feelings. It's a contract. It's devoid of feelings. It's not a feelings-based piece of paper. It's I'm here to protect myself, and in turn, I'm actually here to protect you. If I came in and you had a whole bunch of stuff, I would personally not expect to take 50% of anything you acquired prior to me. However, I can say that when I'm not upset at you. But when I'm pissed at you because you maybe have done some shit, I'm divorcing you, then I'm like, I want all your shit, right? And so for me, I've always been like, you're supposed to prepare for the bad times during the good.
Yeah.
So I always say,
you made almost my next point for me, even, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a moment. There are people, I believe, on both sides of the coin, because I've even heard this come out of men's mouth, of what you said about a prenup is taking the feelings out of the arrangement and the settlement, or of going into the marriage. That taking the feelings out of it is a sign of a bad relationship.
Okay, then maybe that type of relationship isn't for them. If all you have is feelings in a relationship, that sounds great, but those feelings can also then turn to negative feelings, right?
Because they're feelings. Great. Not to me, like, and that's why I love the audience to chime in a bit. Does anyone want a relationship that's just all
feelings all the time, 24/7 feelings?
Just
because I think
go with the flow and how you feel, with the vibes.
But again, because the vibes can switch to bad vibes, right? Again, I think, I wanted to say what happens by the time you're getting a divorce is people are talking about, you ain't taking my shit. Like, that's where it's going to be. Like, don't take my shit. Especially, again, if you came in and one person had a lot of shit and one person had minimal shit, and the person with minimal shit is trying to go after the person with a lot of shit. That doesn't work. For us, I came in, you didn't have shit. We built all of this shit together. So God forbid we separate. I am taking 50% of your shit without question. 50% of this shit's mine. Okay, like, I don't care if it's half this curtain, one of these couches. I'm taking 50% of everything. But we built all this shit together. Just that I'm saying, BBQD saying it's not about money. Why make it about money? Look at the values of the relationship. I'm like trying to read, but you're much closer and you have glasses.
Yeah, it's like, relook at the values in that relationship. That's what, I on a certain level, I agree with that. But
Keish, that's feelings based.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna give, because a good analogy of it.
It's in the good times. You can look at the values of a relationship when it's going good and see it in a positive light. When you get to the point where you're having a divorce, in most cases, not all, divorces aren't amicable. Divorces aren't something that two mature people sit down at a table and say, well, honey, I know it's been 25 years. We've had a good run and it's time to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to hash this thing out and we're going to talk about it. Usually it's, I hate you, you've done this, you've ruined my life, everything, every single moment of this marriage has been horrible. In the last 5 years, I didn't want to fuck you anyways. And it's like all of this craziness. So you don't get to the point where you're looking at values. You're getting to the point where you see this person as a villain and you want to hurt them. And for anyone that's acquired anything, because the whole point to me of a relationship is that you're going to be better together. It's not that you're going to be, so you should have acquired more than when you enter the relationship. And whatever you've acquired together, how do you divide that when you're going at each other? So to me, it's like you cover your ass during the good times, not the bad times.
Yeah. We'll play devil's advocate
Please
again.
do.
By if you're planning for the end of the relationship at the beginning of it, it's not a good relationship.
Well, then that's not a relationship for me to enter.
I feel you on
Because
that.
I'm a planner.
Well,
So
I'm
I have to think about, especially again, when we look at just our relationship, the things that we're doing, the things that we're planning, where we want to go, the steps that we've taken, the things that we've already achieved together. We understand that all of it has been done because we are together. We could have maybe done it separately, but the reality is we've done it together, right?
Mhm.
Every asset that we have in this relationship is an asset that we've acquired together. So if you think that I'm going to potentially leave this relationship and get nothing, you'd be out of your cotton picking mind. But to ensure that, we would have an agreement that, again, what people don't realize is that the law doesn't work for you. So are we going to spend money on divorce lawyers to fight each other back and forth, or we just put down that prenuptial agreement and say, based on this, this is the division of assets? A prenup actually also saves your ass because divorce lawyers are expensive. So you're going to pay tens of thousands of dollars instead of saying to both the divorce attorneys, here's a prenuptial agreement. I just need you to go to the judge and ratify this and split my stuff and I'm out.
Again, you're preaching to the choir. I don't really understand how, if 50% of marriages end in divorce, how that wouldn't be a good enough reason to have those type of discussions.
So BBQD is saying, sorry to cut you, I prefer to be with someone I know I would want to share my wealth with, regardless of the outcome. Rob and I are very clear that we want to share everything together. And again, sounds great right now when we are happy or we are in a good place. Let it be that I found some videos in 10 years of him effing a whole bunch of chicks talking about, oh, and they're calling my house talking about your man done told me that your this game ain't good and he be telling me this. Not so happy. Not such a great problem. So yes, I want to share everything with him. Yes, everything we're building is together. And yes, in the good times, in the good times, everything looks good. But the reality is the prenup is preparing you for the not so nice parts of your relationship. And let's not pretend that they're not going to be. And what we have to realize is, especially as Black people, going in front of a judge, putting the law into your relationship, putting the legal system into your relationship, it doesn't benefit us to do so. It benefits us to be able to have a discussion and a civil discussion when things are good. It's like you don't put yourself in therapy when your relationship's already broken. You actually go to therapy to ensure that you're creating a strong foundation for your relationship. See what I'm saying?
I got a great way of putting it that I think everybody could relate to. That honestly, I know no one. Well, I'm not gonna say no one because there are people that are starting to come around and look at it. Like again, there's no more successful entity in the modern world than the modern business model. Like business has been killing it for hundreds of years. Marriage is the merging of two completely separate entities, kind of like an acquisition in a business. Imagine being at work and your supervisor, director, manager, whoever comes in and says, "Hey guys, we were just purchased by Microsoft. What will be your next question?"
What's going to happen to us?
We're just going to figure it out, go with the flow, see how it feels.
No, if I have 15 years tenure, we're not going to figure shit out. Like, I want to know. You should have a contingency plan for what's going to happen to my 15-year
We
tenure.
love Microsoft.
I don't give two shits about loving Microsoft.
We love Microsoft. We're gonna be.
No.
We're gonna be.
No.
a part of them forever.
No.
Like, what do you mean?
No. What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my 401k? What's going to happen to all my allotted vacation time I haven't used? What's going to happen to my tenure that I have with this thing? What's going to happen to my promotion that I know I was supposed to get? No, I want to know what the fuck's going to happen to me.
I would like to think most people would. I would hope most people would. Look, here's the thing also that I don't think most people know about prenups is that you can put whatever you want to into it.
It's not a one-sided agreement. And I think that's where people get effed up about it. A prenuptial agreement is not a one-sided agreement. It isn't actually for the person with the most assets. It is to ensure that, again, you divide the assets that you acquire together accordingly. Rob couldn't come and give me a prenup and tell me to sign it without me getting independent legal advice and me putting in things. He can't be like, so guess what? You're going to get this, and this. That's it. Be like, I don't even want none of that shit. Like, that's not what I want.
It's more than that.
Okay,
I think that's what's being missed, and that's why it's looked at such a bad thing. It's a prenuptial agreement. It's both parties can actually state what they expect to occur, to go down, how this marriage is supposed to proceed, how it's supposed to evolve. Look, men and women have different goals, agendas, accomplishments, etc. That show 90 Day Fiance that you watch, I was catching that when the girl moved from Trinidad, wherever.
She came from Trinidad.
Oh boy wanted the prenup. He's so worried about he got some money. He got some real estate. He's worried about his assets. I want a prenup. He's pushing prenup. She said, okay, cool. I need some stuff to go in the prenup. I need you to put in that we're going to do everything that we can to have a baby by 40, and that you're going to pay to set up my business in Kansas City. He got what he wanted. She got what she wanted. I'm sure there's provisions in there for if the marriage ends, but the prenup is more than that because it's also laying down on paper, how the marriage is supposed to go.
Well, I think people want to go with the flow. So interestingly, in our poll, would you sign a prenup? 70% of people said no.
Damn.
Right? 70%. Yeah, Cass said, I saw that. 70% of people said no, that they would not sign a prenup. And I think
every single one of y'all signed a prenup with your job.
Facts!
Every single one of you.
Facts!
That's crazy.
Facts!
I'm sorry not to call y'all crazy, but that's interesting to me.
But again, we also understand that we have a show called Fuck Your Feelings. And we have gone into this relationship not devoid of feelings, but understand that we can't run on feelings. For the next 45 years of our life, we cannot just depend on feelings, because some days we don't like each other. Well, maybe it's more I don't like you. No, I do still like you.
You got it.
I do like you.
You got it right the first time. You got it right the first time.
And I won't even say I don't like you. I am a little irritated with you. I like you all the time because you are my best friend and you're funny and all of that stuff. But I should say I don't like you, but you get under my skin. And as a Jamaican woman, I want to cuss you and tell you about your Ross, but I don't, because our first number one rule is no disrespect. So there are days I don't have these wonderful butterfly feelings all up in here about Robert, right? And so, but here's the thing.
So, no, pause right there.
Yeah.
So take that truth that you just stated, and now say you're incentivized to take half of everything and run off.
Well, it's funny. That's where I was going to go with that.
Okay.
Right? Because
that's what life without
there is exactly like. There is an incentive for me to stay, because often what prenups also have is that they have where it is where you got there's a balloon period. Right? And it will say, if you stay together for 10 years and we put in whatever that amount is, then this and this and this and this happens. So you get to the 10-year mark, and then other things happen to evolve, right? So prenups are actually an incentive to stay in the marriage, not go, because there are places where you can be married for 1 year and be able to take 50% of somebody's stuff. That's crazy. That is absolutely nuts to me. So what is the incentive for someone to stay knowing I'm going to come out really well if I leave? So let's be clear. Beyonce and Jay-Z have a prenup. Does it mean that Beyonce and Jay-Z don't love each other? Kim and Kanye had a prenup. That's why the divorce is going kind of crazy, but they're very clear about assets. Most of the people that we admire talking about couple goals, they have prenups
Let me ask you
to
a
cover
question.
their ass.
You use Jay and Beyonce.
I love me some Jay
I mean,
Beyonce.
and again, to kind of frame out another example. If Jay just loses his mind and runs through all his bread, Beyonce is like, hell nah, they divorce. Is Jay entitled to half of her Destiny's Child publishings?
No,
Because why?
because that all happened before Jay-Z.
Thank you. The prenup outlines, look, what we had going into it is still ours. Okay?
Could you imagine? Tina would lose her crap. He'd be like, all of that, all the women that independent, I want all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I want all your shit,
You
B.
just fell completely off and just said, my baby mama got so much money. Well, my wife got so much money. I don't need to do nothing no more. I'm gonna just keep living Jay-Z lifestyle off of her. How long you think that'll last then?
But you know what? It's so interesting because a lot of people always think it's the men that wants the woman to sign the prenup. And BB Cutie just chimed in. She said, I would sign a prenuptial if it was necessary in order to move forward.
Here's the thing. It shouldn't be viewed. That's what, again, we're trying to change certain conversations. It should not be viewed as something like to grit your teeth about. Like fellas and ladies, I want you to think about everything you could possibly want to gain and accomplish in your ideal marriage. And just sit on that for a few seconds. That's the stuff that should be in your prenup.
Mm. You just put a real positive spin to it.
It's not just what happens if it ends, it's how it's supposed to go. And if y'all can agree with how it's supposed to go before y'all get married, maybe that's a sign y'all shouldn't be getting married.
So BB Cutie just made another point. Those terms are already protected for in marriage in Canada. However, with a good lawyer, none of that shit matters. Like, there is no real, because again, the law has loopholes, guys. The thing about it is, unless you're in a country where they don't actually look at prenuptial agreements, and that it depends on country to country, right? There are some country where, and I think for the longest time, the UK didn't really look. I think that's since changed, but they didn't even take a look at prenuptial agreement. But for a country or a state that is all about prenuptial agreements, it is an ironclad contract that says, if this marriage goes from happy to crap, you ain't taking my shit. This is the shit you're entitled for. This is the shit I'm entitled to. Be merry, go off, have fun. It is a very,
that's like the basic prenup.
It's generally supposed to be a clean, tidy, wrap it up in a bowl, go live your separate life. It's been fun. Adios. Right? And the thing about it is, who wants to deal with the mess and the drama when you're going through bad times? I would rather go to my lawyer and say, pull up that prenup that we had. It's been 15 years. Rob and I have built this empire. It's coming to an end. I don't want to deal with his shit. He ain't deal with my shit. Let's divvy up your stuff. I'm calling my girls and I'm going on my Bali vacation to shake my ass on somebody's yacht. I'm not dealing with all of the mess. And I'm not dealing with any of the feelings that come with it. I hate you, you hate me, whatever might be going on during that time. We don't even need to be in court. They go in, they divide it, all the assets are split. We sell the house, we sell the business, we sell everything, and we're gone. It's clean.
That's how it's supposed to be. Like I said, it covers how things are supposed to go in good times and in bad. Now, you could just focus on the bad, but again, that might be an indicator sometimes, because you should not be moving into that phase of relationship, in my experience, if that's still a difficult conversation. Like, what if we break? How solid is your relationship if you can't talk about how it would go if y'all broke up?
Because it's funny enough, that's what your deal breakers are. Having the conversation about, here's the shit.
That, though. Well, this is what I can deal with. This is not even happening. Like, don't be surprised if I leave when I leave your ass, if you do this or this or this, and we both have those. Like, we had to talk about that because there ain't never gonna be no I didn't know.
Thank you. I didn't know that this was something that would have pissed you off and made you upset. Thank you for telling me. And we're 10 years into our marriage,
It never be
right?
no, I didn't know.
Right. And again, we would like to all think that when we are in a angry space, right? When we're in that emotional space that we can be rational. You cannot. It has been proven that you cannot be rational when you're in a bad space. Now, there are people who say, you know what, I would rather just like in my first marriage, I said I don't want anything. I always said I don't want anything. And quite frankly, he's a military man. So I'm entitled to quite a lot. A lot, especially because he pushed our divorce and kept pushing it off and pushing it off. So we have like years of marriage that we didn't need to have because if you just divorced me the first time I asked for it, right? So, but I said I don't want it. I don't want anything of yours. Why? Because at the end of the day, I wasn't there fighting these wars and dealing with the stuff that you're dealing with. But I was coming from a place of rationality because I just wanted out of the marriage. It wasn't a place of feelings. It wasn't any of that. We didn't have children together. There was nothing to fight about. But again, not everybody goes to that space. Now, if you and I were to get divorced, I won't lie, I probably would be all up in my feelings, and the prenup is what would save us.
How you up in your feelings if you the one that filed it?
Why do you think that I would be the one that filed for divorce?
Because that's how 80%. It's just a.
Why would you think that I would be
Vegas
the one?
Vegas odds would be 80-1.
Everybody watching,
regular
if Rob and I
Memphis,
got
man.
divorced, who do you think would file for divorce? I am curious because I don't know why you think I would be the one that files for divorce. What, you wouldn't
As
leave
a
me?
woman files for divorce.
I'm not talking about the women. We're not talking about
of the
Oman. I'm
time.
talking about Robin
I
Toshiba.
am. I'm just talking about the law of averages.
Okay, well, Robin Toshiba, you
Are
think?
you a woman?
Yes,
You a
I
woman?
have. I am a Oman. I'm a Oman.
Yeah. So she would be the one filing for divorce.
Why do you think I would be the one filing for divorce?
Because you're the one that you could actually get crazy enough to actually take that jump. And two, you're not crazy enough to actually do anything to make me want to divorce you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, Bobby. Oh.
At least I hope so.
BB says she pleads the fifth. Robert's always said, yeah, if he gets to the point where he's unhappy in the relationship, it's time to go.
We're in a bad place.
So it's interesting that this poll question is asking for a prenup a sign of mistrust. No. 73%. So most people didn't think it was a sign of mistrust, yet most people wouldn't sign it.
What's love got to do with it? You know what does have to do with a prenup? Sense. The logics.
It's not, it's logicking.
It's logicking. You know, because sometimes y'all logic don't be logicking, and bad things usually happen when that's like that.
So this next poll question was interesting. In line with the fact that most people wouldn't sign a prenup, the next question I asked was, in a divorce, does your spouse deserve 50% of everything? 73% said no.
Damn.
Yet the same 70% said no, they wouldn't sign a prenup. So they're saying you don't deserve 50% of my shit, but I'm not going to sign a prenup to protect my shit.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's America.
So I think that's the interesting part, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You recognize, especially for those who are building something with their life, you're acquiring property, you have assets, you've got 401ks, you have tenure at your job. Let's think about ladies. Think about you having spent, I know people who are, say nurses, lawyers, whomever, they have been building their careers. They've got these pensions, they have these 401ks, they have all of these benefits from the time they've invested into their career. Ladies, for real, would you want to give a man you have married for 10 or 15 years 50% of a career that you've built for 30 years?
I don't think they would.
It would sound crazy for women to say yes. I think that going to law school, becoming a junior partner in 2 or 3 years, then becoming a senior partner, then becoming a managing partner, then becoming an equity partner, and doing all that stuff, that my man should get 50% of the. That's crazy.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Player pro tip. Fellas, I'm going to give you a way to take a lot of the feelings out of asking her to sign the prenup. You spin it like this.
I'm ready.
You come to her, you have that piece of paper, whatever, and you're like, and you know, you see, and it's like you can go through it, and there's areas of the contract that's blank.
All right.
Right? And you step and you, baby, I love you. I can't wait to be married to you. I can't wait to move forward in our life together. What do I need to do to support you in this marriage? We need to get that in this prenup.
Look at you with your player talk. Give me a piece of people. That's certainly a different approach.
How likely is she to hit the wall screaming and flying and yelling if you present it like that?
Probably, I would hope not.
But you know what the difficult thing about this, and here's where I wish I had the little button like some of the shows have where I can say the misogyny button. You're kind of putting her on the spot because women don't know what they want.
Robert. I'm not laughing with you. Robert.
I'm sorry. I'm going to chill for the rest of the night.
You're on timeout.
Okay.
Now, I get that approach, though. I get that approach because it is what it does is it appeals.
My sister said, nah.
Right? But
nah.
It appeals to, no, she said nah in terms of what I was talking about, in terms of investing all of this time into your career only for your man to be taking 50% of that, right? But I see your approach appeals to the feelings part of the relationship, right, which is what BB Cutie was talking about earlier, right? Like, we want to be in a place where you think we are so in love that based on this foundation of love and commitment, we are going to be together forever. And that sounds idealistic, but it's not realistic because life happens. Recessions happen, people lose jobs, people get sick, someone could cheat. There are all of these different things. There's debts in the family. There's issues with children and people can't agree and they're like, fuck all of this. I'm just going to leave because I'm not dealing with none of this shit. Like, there's all of these things that happen that are outside, unless you live in a bubble. Like, if we talked about it last week. If we lived in a bubble, our relationship would be perfect.
Oh yeah, that's most relationships. Most relationships would be
in this bubble without the distractions of everything else. It's like the NBA. When the NBA worked in a bubble, it was a different NBA.
Were a lot better in the bubble because ain't no crowds, ain't no family, ain't no going out, ain't no nothing but basketball. That's why the Lakers won the chip, because they was the most professional team in the bubble.
And relationships would survive in a bubble, but the reality is we don't live in a bubble. And there are all of these different things that are going to hit you in a relationship, and you're going to have to deal with it. And if you do, and that's the part of it. Are we going into relationships with the coping mechanism that are needed to deal with bad times?
You'd like to think so. But again, just in my experience, you don't really know a person until you don't give them something that they want from you.
And I agree with BB Cutie. Marriages that last 50 years plus survive, all of that. Exactly.
All of that.
They do. However, it goes back to what I just said. They have built what was necessary to survive all of that. They went in, they acquired the skill throughout the marriage. You don't acquire the skills to deal with marriage generally until you're in the marriage. I know it sounds like,
because each one is different.
Each one is different.
But that's, again, the prenup is like it's like a manual. It's like I said, everyone signed a prenup when they took their job.
Yeah, they signed that contract that said
you signed off on SOP, standard operating procedures, as far as how your behavior, dress code. You signed off on your personal responsibilities for your job title. Like, it was clearly outlined what your expectations were of you when you were at work.
And the law.
Why don't people feel like it makes a relationship less valid to transfer that same type of mentality to the most important relationship in your life, which is your personal relationship. Why do people protect a job more than their personal life?
But let me also add, in the bad times of a job, I've been downsized in my job twice. And what did they do? They looked at my tenure of the time with my company. They looked at my salary of how much I was making, and they went to a book that said, based on the tenure, this is how much we're going to offer her for her to go. We're letting her go. We're downsizing. We're getting rid of her department. This is based on this manual. Here, they would go across here and say, this is what we're going to give her. And I fought twice for more money and got it twice, but I had to fight for it. Based on their manual, that's what I was getting.
Like, hell no, I did.
That's an agreement. Thank you. I invested way more than that. So when you go in front of a judge, the judge doesn't know what that I've invested and you've invested to build this. They see, okay, Robert Stevenson, here's his salary, here's his this. They see Tashiba Billings. Oh, she's great. They see that she had a little small business, but you were the breadwinner, Mr. Stevenson. Not knowing that the reason your ass was the breadwinner is because I was there supporting you 115,000% to get you to where you are. But that's what the law does. The law doesn't care about the investment into what we've done. The law is the law. They go to this book, they go to this manual. It's like the child support office. The child support office doesn't care about the fact that you've taken your kid every weekend. If you were not keeping the receipts for everything you've bought, they're looking at it. You make this. Here's the thing, number of kids, this is how much you pay.
That's how it goes, you know what I mean? Hell, most states got right to work, which is literally if they come in and decide they want to fire you one day, they can do that and you get nothing. Most people are cool with that.
I would never leave this with nothing. I could not imagine leaving this relationship with nothing, which is interesting to say because I want to talk to people because people hear the word prenup and they go, okay, well, what if I don't want to get married? That's fine. There's something called a cohabitation agreement.
Similar.
It's a very similar thing, and it's
situation.
for people who live together or in the same situation but are not married by law. Because a prenuptial agreement is for those of you who are married by law, where a cohabitation agreement are those of you who are living together and are in common law, recognized common law relationships. And again, every country or different states recognize common law very different. For some people, it's living together for a year. For some places, it could be 5 years. For some places, it could be 10 years, right? But being in a cohabitation agreement also means that whatever I've invested, this is what I leave with. And it's meant to benefit people. Then there's also a postnuptial agreement, which is, shit, we forgot to do the prenup, but now that we're married, let's get it all together.
Well, basically, you're amending the original agreement.
And listen, I get it. Yeah. It's not romantic.
Not at all.
Nothing about talking about potential demise of a relationship is romantic.
How many of y'all have failed relationships that started out really romantic? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I don't be really wanting to hear that romance shit most of the time because I'm like, what do it really mean in the long run? He wined you and dined you long enough to get what he really wanted from you on the level that he wanted to. I told you it's like a gotcha game, and women forget that sometimes. Like, I was notorious in my bachelorhood because it was like once you gave up that leverage, and I think we all know what that leverage is, I am not doing anything more than what I did prior to the fact. So if all we did was Dave and Buster's, we ain't never doing nothing better.
So they ain't getting no Morton's, no STK, no nothing.
No.
Can I add continued romance to my prenuptial? Yes.
Certainly, but you have to outline it. You can't just say romance.
You got to say
date night every Friday.
Yes. Once a year trips without the fucking kids.
Yeah, international trip for a week with no children once a year.
That actually can go into
certainly
prenup.
Put that in there.
And I think that's the part where
that kind of puts him more like, this is what you got to, like I said, what do I got to do to support you in this marriage? Because ladies, I know y'all, like, that's what romance is he knows what you like without you saying anything. That's why romance is so difficult, because men like pointers, because every woman is different. The last girl, you could have tickled her feet and she loved it. It was the greatest thing ever. The next girl, you tickled her bottom of her
Now
feet
get
and
the
she
hell off
kicked
my
you in the
foot.
face.
Right, like in our relationship, date nights are a big thing for me. I love date nights. Life gets busy, but he understands. And sometimes we do it every Friday. Sometimes it's every other Friday, depending on what's going on in
But we
night.
try
But
to,
he tries to make sure that a month doesn't go by
yeah.
without a date night. We have our date night. It's us. He makes sure he's treating me amazing. He's opening the doors. He's doing all of those things that I love. These things, because he understands that that's a way to feed me, and that's part of our relationship contract, right? We don't have a formal cohabitation agreement because we know we're going to get married and we're going to have a prenup. We're going to actually have a contract that divides the assets. Now with us, it's pretty easy. 50%. It's like, it's down the line. There is no question of whether or not it's 50%. It's 50%. Like, we have built everything that we're building together, but even understanding that there might be things that you say, you know what, I need this from you. 30-day challenge. Just joking,
Yeah, I
like,
mean, ain't gotta be in the
whatever.
prenup necessarily, but that's the relationship contract, is the conversation that sets up the prenup, because y'all have already talked about this stuff already. The prenup isn't scary. It's not, like I said, we keep talking about it from different sides of the same coin, but it's also, so it outlines how the marriage is supposed to go for him and for you, and it will help ladies especially. Sometimes it's not romantic if the only reason he brings flowers is because he knows you like flowers. What, he's supposed to fucking develop a love for botany all of a sudden, and I picked these from the, no, the only reason he does it is because you like it. Why is that bad?
It isn't. It shouldn't. Because I get, some women feel like, if you love me, you'll just figure out what I
Yeah,
want
no,
and
that does
you'll
not
do.
work, man.
Men
Men
need
are
to come with
dumb.
instruction
Like,
manuals for a
man,
relationship.
we need
And not a
cheat
relationship, the
codes even.
relationship, thank you, the relationship that he's having with you. Because just like you said, I remember dating a guy, and you know how I feel about opening doors. Like, I stand in front of every door, ladies. I don't touch a door. I don't touch the door. I don't even want to touch the car door, but depending on what we're doing, I'm not waiting for him to open the door. Date nights, definitely. Most times Rob opens the door and I get in the car. But when it comes to other doors, I don't open a door. Rob could be 10 meters behind me and I'm standing in front of the door waiting for him to open it. So I remember dating a guy, and that was part, I stood and he just was like, but he got it. And he said to me, Toshiba, you're the first woman to ever require me to step up and do it. But he knew every single door from there he opened, but he hadn't been required by any woman. He was like you, ex-pro basketball player, all that stuff. Women were just happy to be around. And I'm like, no, I have standards. And so in your relationship, you have to set your standards. So the thing about it, so here's my question to
Before
you.
you give up the box.
Here's my question to you, though. If there were no standards set into the relationship, like in terms of this is how I want relationship go, is that why sometimes people find it difficult to have now a prenup or a postnup or a cohabitation agreement? Because they're like, we've just been doing this relationship. Now you want to come to me with some piece of paper?
Ooh, okay, my second time for, if I had the button, I'd press it. Here I go being a
Oh,
misogynist again.
Jesus.
But I think it kind of falls in line why the idea of that prenup and all that is so bad, because remember when I was talking about Young earlier about, like, whatever it took me to get that leverage is what I'm gonna do to continue to keep it going.
Mhm.
Other than that, then all you can do is stop.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't require enough from Jump Street, you don't want to get into no prenups or nothing like that, because you can't really all of a sudden demand more than you required from day one. Like, that's why I said, dealing with us, look, you cannot be like a bum ass nigga your whole life and then win the lotto and go buy all designer clothes and think that people that have known you your whole life is all of a sudden gonna
think you're a better man.
Reverence
Yeah.
and
You're still a bum ass
and
nigga. Well,
thank
I don't like.
you.
He's a ninja with money.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
No, I
I've been
get
really
it.
good about that word.
You
man.
have. I was
I've
thinking
been
about that
using
today.
it.
You were actually really good at it.
But you feel what I'm saying? Like, so if you was gluck 10,000 on the first date, like you can't really demand a lot from bruh.
What is gluck 10,000? Like if you want.
That's what the kids is saying.
Like if you were giving up head on the. Is that what
give it up.
I'm done.
Not just head, throat. Like you was doing the most.
So
like,
you were like Karen Steffens in it, like you were super heading it.
Then how was you gonna all of a sudden be like, you need a date night and open the door when I get in the car with you and like, yo, shorty, I did none of that. And you was all in, like, save it.
So BB Cutie says the problem is people are afraid to state their standards. False starts.
Starts. Don't do it, ladies. Like, let him know what he got to do. But I know y'all be shooting yourself in the foot. Oh, I really like him, so I'm not gonna require that much of him. And if you really like him, you should require everything you want out of him. And give him the choice if he fucking with you like that or not. But again, y'all be scared of that because you don't like him. That's why there's
I think the thing is you like him so much that you don't want to scare him away by having standards.
Yeah, well, however you want to slice
hello,
it.
Mr. Former ball player. You know that you had women that their standards with you were non-existent.
It was a mistake every time. Facts. It was a mistake every time. Ask them about it.
Tell them this is a great opportunity because again, coming in with no standards. This is why, like a prenup for a lot of women would be like, oh, whatever. And this thing is like, you have no standards. Like, I'm not going to trust you. You're not taking none of my shit. Like, you had no standards. Now you want to take my shit.
First off, prenup is only coming up and being in the conversation after he's made the decision that he wants to marry you.
But that's agreed. So women with no standards, a man doesn't want to marry. Because
that conversation never gets there.
Go. This is a great opportunity to talk to women, like how to even get to a point where a prenup conversation is even possible. Go, Mr. Player. I've lived in 7 countries and glop.
I'm like
3,000, 2,500 version.
But like that's what I'm saying. This stuff is all jacked up or whatever. Like that's why again the danger of maybe you need to say it, but it's like if you didn't require it of him. It's hard to down the line require it of him. Like that's just the way it is, And so many times, that's why it's always the man's fault when, you ask a woman about what happened with the relationship, because that's usually what happened. And she didn't require something in the beginning. And then as the relationship, well, I grew up and he didn't. He had no plans to. You should have knew that before the fact. But you didn't. So yeah, he didn't grow with you. He wasn't ambitious like you. All that's your fault.
Well, look at how many women are in relationships with single men, right? But you also said something of getting to the point of a prenuptial is a man deciding that he wants to marry you.
Basically,
a man deciding that he wants to give you the highest title he can give you. So for me, the idea that a prenup would be the thing that is the, like, I'm looking for the word, but the prenup would be the fork in the road, let's say. So a man has decided to marry you. He's gone through the thing. He's given you a ring. He's announced it to his family. He's cut off all of his other women because that's what it says. It signals to all the other women, you don't have a chance because I've decided to be with this one woman. And now he brings a prenup to you, and that's the fork in the road for you. You're not considering everything that happened to get there for that man to get to a decision, especially if you're with a man of any type of value, whether it's high value, mid-level value, whatever kind of value you might think that man has. He is a man of value. He's a man that other women want. He's decided he only wants you. And now that prenup, that piece of paper is a fork in the road? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, or maybe he didn't decide he only wanted you, and that's gonna be in the prenup too.
Well, talk about that. I mean, go ahead, sir. Player.
Man. I'm just like it's almost like sometimes taking shots is because.
Well, no. Let's really talk about that. You're gonna go into your no. Let's go into that. If a man were to put in a prenup that I am okay with sleeping, with a different woman in our marriage, but this allows you X. This you will get X.
Retail therapy. Basically.
And it does happen.
No, I'm telling you, it does happen. It's facts. You get retail therapy.
No, I had a
You
situation.
Get $10K a month to shop it off.
I had a situation
so
where
you don't get to ask me where I've been when I come in.
I did have. Let me finish. I had a situation where I was with someone and he was pretty well to do, and we were going to sign a cohabitation agreement, and all this stuff was happening, and lawyers and whatever. And part of it for him was, just so you know, I'm not saying that I'm just committing to you, but know that no woman can ever come to the door and say anything to you because you are living in this house and you are doing this and you are doing that, and you should just close the door in her face and let her go along, because part of the agreement was going to be that he wouldn't put the women in my face. He would give me this life, but the women would never go in my face. And he said, but should any of them come in your face, you just close the door and keep pushing, because where you going, I'm giving you a good life. That was part of what was going to be, and he was very clear about it.
He wasn't scared to ask for it either.
Because he was in a position of power. But let's talk about that. That is something that scares people in those relationships. They feel like the person who's asking for the prenup is in the position of power. And there's a dynamic of balance. Women don't want to feel like we don't have power. But the reality is the prenup actually gives you power.
That's fact, because again, that's where the power of the counter offer is. It depends on your perspective sometimes, because the buyer then presented, they offered. That's what they're ready to pay. You as the seller have the option to counter offer. You say, oh, I like that offer, but
let me tell you my terms.
Like buying a house.
Just like BB Cutie said. This is what I require.
No, you gonna pay closing costs, and it gets hashed out on that way. So again, ladies, especially if you when that man is ready to marry you, and first off, again, ladies, like, try to make that a requirement again, like, for real, like. It would just clean up society a little bit.
Let's go to there. Do you think you would have had the adventures in your life that you've had if these women had required even just a basic relationship from you?
No.
So tell me what that's like, because again, you've been Beyonce since you were a teenager. Like, Rob has looked like this since he was in his teens, and women even when he was a teenager were trying to give him the draws. Okay, so women were just giving you the draws. If women in your life had required more of you before giving you the draws, how different do you think things had gone?
I would have probably not been such an asshole.
Describe what being an asshole was.
Just like not doing, like, not really, like trying to seeing how I could get away with doing the least, almost. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, she really on the nigga, because I just bought her some Reese's Pieces and she was gluck 10,000. You know what I mean? Like, that type of energy. Like, ladies, y'all got to be careful with how y'all be getting down. Like, because for real, y'all, how you might be meaning it doesn't mean that's how dude interpreting it. For real. Because she's only doing that because she really likes you. Me.
Yeah.
And I don't give a damn about that.
You're trying to get what you're trying to get in balance.
Or not mess it up so I can keep getting it down the road. I mean, I don't want to just obliterate it. Like, again, this is dope. First night. So I'm going to try to keep that going, of course. But when she's like, I need this, that, and the third, and the fifth, I'm like, I guess I'm not coming over no more.
I'm sorry. I am so happy I didn't know you then. I would have fucking hated you.
You're probably right. But there would have been a certain attraction in that hatred that might have got you.
No, I would have got you, and you'd be like, I really want to get this chick because she's not trying to gluck 10,000 me just because I'm the man on campus or the man in this country or whatever it is. Like, I think, but it's funny. You've said that. You mean like women are the reason for casual sex. Like sex wouldn't be so casual if women weren't so just so
required
casual.
more facts. Like, look at, I know it's like they had granny draws and all that, but if you look at, you got to go back a while because we really in this modern times now. But if you go back, say 100 years, like women was not giving up. Women was not independent, and they was not twerking, and they was not what they was not soul snatching, as y'all like to say it.
Oh, when you have sex, these snatches. So,
do you know how hard it is for a woman to dominate a man sexually? Like with the leverage of the actual act, that's what y'all can hang over his head. But to think like you really like hurt him or something, like, or snatched his soul, or
that's something women say to other women. It's not often that men go to other men and say, "She snatched my soul."
Not really. Like, if he goes to his boys like that, then you definitely did something noteworthy. But guess what? That still ain't gonna keep him in a relationship.
So let's talk about for the women who want to get to the point where prenuptial agreement is even a conversation. You're saying come in with standards and requirements, and we've got
that's just how you gotta rep yourself. If you want the man that you really want, you gotta have standards about yourself.
So
even if that means it's drier than the damn desert for a while, then that's what it is. But a lot of times I think females miss a dude who would actually be good for their life messing around with a clown. Because the dude that he might have eyes for you, and then he like, oh, you messing with Pookie though? You can't be what I thought you was.
Because you messing with
Pookie. So I'm gonna just move on and look for what I'm really looking for.
So let's talk about us for a second. What is it about me that of all the women who were interested in Mr. Stevenson, Mr. 6'9", Mr. all of this, what about me in another country appealed to you enough that you're like, I'm ready to settle down? Because you were not in a relationship state of mind. And I think for the ladies, again, is, you're a man that a lot of women want. I recognize that I have competition for you, but somehow we went from strangers again to cohabitation in 96 days.
Yeah, well,
in another country.
Well, one is that, just it was wide open conversationally, and you didn't really. There's a couple of things you kind of still throw shade around and kind of are a little harsh on, in my opinion, but not specifically. But you didn't judge me, so you made it really easy for me to really be myself when conversating with you. Conversing with you, and that was just appealing. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, I don't really got to pull no punches, because you identify with certain aspects of just how raw men tend to actually be. Like, that's why I'm like, ladies, when you be like, oh, this dude weak and he capping on, he's only like that because he likes you.
Keep going.
No, I'm saying, like, because if he really like let you know what's going on in the pit of his stomach, you'd be bursting in tears. Because as much as he likes you, oh, he definitely sees some issues with you too. But men don't run around in relationships complaining about the woman. The woman runs around in a relationship complaining about the man. It's been that way since the end of time. One of the Bill Burr, I think it is, he's got a great joke about it. He was like, he was married for 25 years. They was at their 25th anniversary dinner, and his wife was telling them about all of the things that he needs to take care of and all of this stuff.
After 25 years.
And he sat back and he said, and I sat back and thought, and I was like, damn, after 25 years, we've been working on me. When the hell we gonna work on you?
When are we gonna finally get to your
relationship? Gonna work on you. So again, that's as a man, fellas, that's why you gotta require certain shit. Like, she can't even step over the line off day one, because most people, not gender specific or nothing, when people get both feet over a line, they're not gonna step back willingly.
Let's talk about the interview process, because I think a lot of women don't realize that they're being interviewed by men. Because I recognize I'm being interviewed by you, right?
But no, it's we're multifaceted predators. Yes, man is the same dude that y'all be talking about. That's why I like that show F Boy Island is so fascinating, because some of them F boys, they still catch feelings. It's just for the right woman.
Mm-hmm.
The one that gives them the mix of the chase and the, oh wow, I actually got her and I might actually want to keep this one. You know what I'm saying?
You just said something about just kind of us, and is it because I allowed you to have a space, a safe space to be vulnerable, right? Without being okay.
I'm just messing with you. Nah, but man, like that's because
And I'm not talking about being weak, because again, we equate vulnerability with weakness. But you said you were able to be you raw, and Robert is raw. Robert is again, fuck your feelings, right?
Yeah, I make a lot of inappropriate jokes and stuff like that because I like they said, I really look at life like you can laugh or you can fucking cry. So I choose to laugh at anything. And yeah, some stuff is just gonna break you down to the point that that's the only thing there is tears. But I've experienced enough in that in my life that I don't really like fucking with that.
And so being in a space for a man with a woman who he doesn't feel safe with, that for him
like
is
when I say one of my off the wall jokes, like all she ever does is rob her, and usually she chuckles a little bit with me because she was like, that shit was funny on the low. It was mean, but it was funny.
I do a lot of Robert. But I think for women, it's we have to really try to understand in terms of how men think and how men see things. And again, when we talk about you ain't taking my shit, it isn't a man saying I don't trust you, I don't love you, I don't whatever. It's at the end of the day, I love you enough to say if this were to end, I don't want to be fighting over shit.
Facts, man. And it's like another thing that it's like a constant push from how the opposites look at it. It's like women are always saying, I just want a man that's going to tell me the truth. I'm just going to tell.
No, you don't.
But then he tell you the truth and you judge him for it. And he can see it. Oftentimes, because y'all know your body language is hard. Like, you got to be a really good actress to throw your body language off. Like, men are experts at reading your body language. Facts. Y'all think we're not paying attention? One thing almost every man is very, very good at is reading your body language, because it's y'all wear your heart on your sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So how she moves around this house, like she said, when she's annoyed or bothered by me, is very different than when it was like the night before.
Shut up, Robert.
She moved totally different energy, totally different.
Shut up. He always says that he knows when he's put it in real well the night before, because I'm going around like I'm on a cloud and everything is great.
She's twirling rainbows around this bitch.
Shut up.
When she's not so happy, it's like, nigga don't get no breakfast.
I'm like, fuck you in your
she
socks.
She hops up and goes to the gym. Like, nothing. Don't get nothing. Not even a goodbye, farewell.
I don't lie to the people them. I do say goodbye. I say it under, I might say it in a bye.
But facts. But your boy put in that work the night before, man. Be omelets, yogurt, smoothie. She be playing good music. Not no, what's her name? I know Summer Walker. Summer Walker is a bad night. Like she playing. She don't even like her. If she put her on, I know.
Or I be putting on Khalees. Khalees put up that Khalees. Yo. Like,
please. I'm just like, man. She mad. She's sending a message through music and shit. Like, men pay attention to that, like from that angle and stuff like that. We know when y'all mad at us. And that's when y'all really get big mad sometimes, is when you realize I'm mad and he doesn't care. It's not that he doesn't care. He just ain't got no energy for that bullshit.
Well, it was funny because I was explaining to somebody, because I be talking to people about everything. So the gentleman I met at the gym, I was talking to him about his relationship. And I said, what you need to do with the woman that you're with, because he says sometimes exactly what you said, I don't want to deal with this shit. But he said, I basically was saying to him, what you need to communicate is you're not in a place to give what she's talking about the attention you know it deserves. See what I'm saying? Because it's a very different thing. You're not going to be able to get out of me what you want from me right now, so we're going to need to take a moment. And that's what we're really good at. of saying, you know what, you're no, at this moment, you're not gonna get out of me what you want.
It's not that. It's, you could cue up Big Sean. It's like, I don't fuck with you right now, and I'll let you know when I do.
Right? And then that's the case. I don't fuck with you right now. I'm not fucking with what you're saying. I'm not fucking with your attitude. I'm not fucking with any of it. And if we continue down this path, right, then this. So
It's
imagine.
only gonna get worse. Like, that's why that when sometimes when y'all chasing a dude down, arguing, just losing your mind, like, that's not cool. Like, again, she understands that no disrespect. So we have a very we and that's the one thing we never really had a whole big discussion about what is disrespect, because we both come from similar spaces to where you know it when you see it. When you know what I'm saying, I leave the house, she chasing me down the stairs, poking me in my back. Where are you going? You think you just gonna leave me when we talk? Like, yo, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all get mad when he doesn't have the discipline to just restrain himself. A lot of y'all think you can just smack a dude and he not supposed to do nothing. But that's also a like test from the female side of things, because it's almost like he damned if he do, he damned if he don't.
If he punches you back in your face, it's a problem. But if he takes
crazy,
it, he's a punk. Yeah.
But if he don't, he a punk. So
we got to. That's what we got to be.
Stop putting
again. But again, when you're, this is why I'm saying, for even like, take that into a marriage after you've acquired things. People be doing that in 6 months relationship because they're high off some dick or some pum pum, right? It's usually the high off the dick and all of this craziness. Take that into a relationship where you've built and acquired and had some shit together. People think that people are going to go into courtrooms and be happy and be cordial and be like, yes, Robert, I think you are correct. You should get that. No.
It's the more the relationship, like, you feel like you might have put into it or invested or whatever it is, the more like, and then it's a lot of factors. The more you feel like the other person, the more unappreciated you might have felt over the course, like all of those things,
all of that shit plays
that comes out, like, and it causes you to act out of character. Let me tell you,
I love you dearly, but
yeah. So if all of a sudden I'm like, nah, man, fuck that 50-50, 80-20, man. Like, I'm the one that went to work every day.
I would cut your Achilles tendon in your sleep and watch you bleed to death. Okay, I'm Jamaican. Let Robert ever try no shit with me talking about I'm the one that goes to work after I done invested.
Me and Joe sit in first class. You sit your ass in economy class. You should be happy you go.
I'm the one out here working and I would cut your Achilles tendon and I would gladly watch you bleed to death, and I would record it.
Like, I know me buying a friend a first class ticket and buying her an economy class ticket, she would view that as disrespect. I know that. She would never have to tell me that.
You lost your shit. But again, people lose their shit. Twins Inc. is counting why. But people, that's the problem. People lose their shit when they're angry. You lose the being rational when you're angry, right? All of that. And so this is why standards, relationship contracts, prenups, whatever it is that you need to do to sustain a good relationship, to make sure that if it ever comes to the bad times, and people listen, we talk about the idea of staying together. That is our goal. Our fundamental goal is to stay together through good, bad, and indifferent. And even though we're talking about we both would sign a prenup without question, the reality of it is it's so we can stay together. There is an incentive for me to stay. I'm incentivized to stay in this relationship, not to leave. We have built way too much together for me to be like, so it's been fun and I'm just going to go and, we're going to divvy this stuff, ship my stuff to Canada, and that's where I'll be. Oh, hell no. We are too intertwined in life. And Rob's not just going to be like, yeah, it's been fun. Like, it's not happening. So it's an incentive to actually stay together. It's an incentive to when the times get rough, because it's so easy for you to get caught in your feelings. And, BB Cutie, the romance isn't there anymore. And the date nights have wavered, and the dick game and the Glock, what is it, 10,000? Glock. I was saying Glock, which is like, God, what the Glock, 10,000 ain't it?
It's so much to really go to that, but again, if ladies, especially from the emotional side of it, how is he gonna care for you? How is he gonna provide for you, provision for you? Like, that's all prenup material, man. That's all relationship contract material. Like, What is the goal of the relationship? You made that, you asked
Stay
that
together.
question, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what is the goal of the
How
relationship?
many people are messing around with somebody that if they ask them that question, they can't even answer it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Talking about dating with intentions and getting to
No,
the
that's what I'm
point where,
saying.
like,
Facts.
what is the
Because like you
goal of
said,
what we're doing?
20 back in my 304 days.
You
You
had
know what I'm
you
saying?
had a
Back in
lot
my
of
whole days.
he had a
If
whole
any of them
he had
women,
listen, Robert had whole decades. It wasn't whole days, he had whole decades. He had about
if
20 years of
any of
whole
them
days.
women would have asked me, what's the goal of this relationship before sleeping with me, I would have said buns. And I might not have, probably wouldn't have got nothing. But yeah, if I do that, but if you ask him afterwards, he might tell you what's the goal of this relationship. Bonds, like that's what I was trying to do. Now you mad, like, and all you can do is stop sleeping with him. So ask him before you give him the box. What's the goal of the relationship?
Yes, did Robert just say buds? Our sponsor Sorlin said yes. That is Robert's terms for it's buns. Okay, that was the goal. But again, if the goal of the relationship is stay together, you both need to be invested into staying together.
Facts.
You both need to be invested, because that's the thing about our relationship. As much, again, I go around and I be not making him breakfast on the days that he be pissing me off and I don't want to iron his shirt. My goal is still to stay together. So I never do anything that is disrespectful.
But again, if the goal was to feel as good as possible,
well, then I would not be with you. Okay, if my goal in a relationship was just to feel as good as Robert is not the partner for me. Robert does not make me feel as good as possible every day. Robert gets to be Robert in this relationship. And I actually get the best parts of Robert because he gets to be Robert in the relationship. You don't have to walk around on eggshells, even on the days that they match each other. So I get to be my stink self when I have my moments, and he gets to be his grumpy old, I don't give a crap about what you're dealing with because I'm going to be Robert and walk around this house and do what I do. But again, our goal is to stay together, right? It isn't to have mushy gushy feelings, because it ain't it.
Yeah, high fives every day.
Right. Yes, we've done that. And we do that. We have those appreciation moments. I appreciate
awesome
them.
mornings, but we also have stank mornings.
We have some very stank mornings. We try not to have stank nights. It's very rare we have stank nights, though.
No, yeah, because that's different.
Yeah, stank nights we don't have.
But sometimes, and it's not even really like you woke up feeling that way. It's just you woke up and then you just started thinking about it. Like it wasn't the first thing on the mind, or just that's kind of the mood, you know what I mean? And it's like we've noticed certain trends in our relationship. Like we also know, like, going, getting busy, and it's easy in relationships to get busy, and then maybe 3 days go by, 4 days go by, 5 days go by. Like after a few days, not having sex starts to make the stank even more stank because there's nothing to correct it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. There's a reset.
A reset.
Sex for us is definitely a reset. It's a big reset. Yes, it's a huge reset.
Yeah, let's be honest. There's no way you giving up them buns if you're not happy.
It's a big reset. So the key is for us, again, I think that's and I never thought about it. We don't generally have steak nights. I think I can count on maybe one hand steak nights that we've had, but we do have steak mornings, and we try to resolve it throughout the day.
Sometimes, like sometimes we rub each other the wrong way, and then somebody will be like, "I'm gonna dig in on this negative feeling," and I do that sometimes. She does it a lot more than me, but sometimes, like, okay, she was talking her shit one time, and it made me feel kind of like,
what I said.
Oh, this nigga talk shit about the shit that she do for me or whatever. Okay, you don't need to iron shit. You don't need to cook shit. You don't need to do nothing then. And then my ass going to work hungry. And
I let his ass do it too.
I iron my own shirt in the morning, and I don't like doing that. I want to go just float through the morning, get my head ready for my commute, because dealing with them fools on these Arizona highways be having you. You gotta, boy, listen, my commute has me fighting to protect my energy.
So he thought that he was gonna be cute. And he was like, fine, then you know what? You have to do shit for me in the morning. I'll iron my own shirt. I'll make my own breakfast. He went to work wrinkled up and hungry. And I let him do that it was like the past 2 to 3 weeks. Then I turned to him the other day. I'm like, how's that going for you? He It's like, I fucking hate it. I was like, okay. So now I'll go back and I'll make you breakfast and I'll iron your shirt because you wanted to be stubborn. You wanted to do your own thing. Cool. Enjoy that. Have fun with that.
I don't even care about doing that.
And he doesn't want it. He doesn't know where his socks is half the time, even though it's there.
Like,
he doesn't like to iron his shirt, but I let him do that
shit.
shit.
If she don't put lotion on me, I'm ashy.
Yeah, if I don't put lotion on Rob's body,
I'm being absolutely honest.
No, he will
not. You know how ashy I gotta be to be like, God damn, I need to put some lotion on.
No, I actually
lotion. Like literally Casper the Ghost Wipe.
I lotion Rob's skin in the morning. I feed Rob. I had to get Rob vitamins the other day. I give him his vitamins, which I have to do when we go downstairs.
That was actually my idea.
To do, yeah, for you to, but do you take them yourself? Have you opened? Do you even know how to open the bottle?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, so you do not. It was our idea to buy the vitamins, but if I don't give you the vitamins in the hand, you're not taking it. If I don't lotion Rob, he's not taking it. If I don't put stuff in his beard, he's not doing it. He's not doing any of that. So when he had a moment that he thought that he wanted to be cute and tell me, oh no, I'll do stuff by myself, I was like, bet. Enjoy that. Yeah. Enjoy how that is. Even yesterday, there was something that you were supposed to do. Rob doesn't even know how to turn on the dishwasher. I was telling him, babe, I'm about to go to bed.
Actually, unfortunately,
I'm about to go to bed. I'm about to go to bed. He was eating cereal. I'm like, just put it. He was like, well, I'm going to be done in 2 minutes. I'm like, yeah, you don't know how to turn on the dishwasher, do you? He does not. And so so we laugh. Again, this is our relationship, but our goal is to stay together. And even understanding that, Rob and I think, are at a space where we recognize that we need each other and not just want each other. And so the idea of you're not just going to take my shit isn't even in our thoughts of that, but we also recognize we still got to protect each other. Yeah, and protect ourselves. There's a protection. I think even for Rob, I remember this is the last thing I'm going to say before we go into things. I
lost all track of time.
I was talking to Rob, but Rob actually brought up the our wedding and what we needed to do and so forth. And he was like, I need a piece of paper on you because your ass will run. I thought that was funny. Remember when you said that? Because a lot of the times women think it's about it. He said, I need that piece of paper on you because your ass will run and go back to Canada, and we ain't gonna do that. So yeah, the piece of the marriage certificate, and Rob's not even big on marriage, but he's big on this relationship, and he recognizes the value of this relationship, and he understands that this is what this relationship requires. So I love that question that you're saying to ladies to ask, and men will be the same. What is it that you want in this relationship? What's the goal of this relationship?
If you be honest, sometimes if it's like buns, she might be like, shit, same thing.
But that shit's only gonna last that shit's only gonna last that long.
And that's what I'm saying. So it sounds so crazy.
Read that, please.
Oh yeah, so he has to marry her. No, I am fully aware of that.
So our sponsor sorority says we don't want her back here, so he has to marry her.
Hey y'all, she slipped up. She knew she messed up. So
what did I do?
I'm gonna just share. She was in here watching one of those things. So here I was out there chilling on the porch, and she came in. Oh, it was the 90 Day Fiance. And she was like, yeah, old boy had all these chicks in his DMs and all this other stuff. And he's like, nah. And I'm like, yeah, he might get another sponsor, whatever. She was like, no, he ain't even got his green card yet like that. I was like, no, I thought you said he got it already. She was like, he did, but he's got to maintain something for a period or she can cancel that on him. I was like, word? So even when they get their green card, you can still cancel it? And she was like, yeah, you didn't know that? I was like, nah. And then I just started looking at her like,
asshole. Like, he was like,
dangle that green card on your ass for about 4 years. God damn it.
Your ass ain't going nowhere.
Like, oh, you mad? I cancel your green card. Shut up.
Emotional damage. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage. Yes. I will cancel that shit. You better be nice.
This man was like, I'll cancel your green card. You better be freaking not just a marriage certificate I got over you. I got a green card because you're my sponsor.
I send your ass back.
You know what? Rob gets 30-day dick sucking challenges. My ass is going nowhere. Okay. Anyways, take your question and leave me alone. You got Twin Zinc laughing over there about the emotional damage.
Is there anything about sex that gives you anxiety?
Not getting it. I'm not getting enough of it. If I stopped sucking your dick, you would be very anxious. I'm just saying, but that's just me. I'm just saying.
I don't like my butt being in the air when I'm having sex. How about that one? It just feels weird, unnatural, and I have like some silent phobia of somebody weird busting in. And like, I think some comedian made a joke about it, but I was like, yo, some niggas really got that phobia, man. Like it's just, I, or my daughter even walking in like, Daddy, booty all in the air. Like, what is happening? So yeah, that's probably it.
That is what gives you anxiety.
Yes, no.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Having your booty up in the air? What do you think I'm gonna try to do? Peg you?
Just anyone can do anything. I'm totally vulnerable.
Sorry, guys. I just don't understand what just happened.
I think a ninja could break in and ninja star right in the booty. I don't know, man. Like I'm just saying. I'm telling you, I told you I have a really wild mind.
Okay, this is what happens when you played in all them European countries. Like honestly, I don't even. I'm okay. I'm
That's
gonna.
a little too vulnerable for me. Like so, whatever I'm doing that needs my booty to be in the air, we gotta reposition.
You got my sister-in-law. Like, what's wrong with my brother? Okay. So my question is very wholesome. Did you ever run away when you were a kid? No. Where was I going? I've never understood the concept of running away. My mother probably would have left my ass out there.
Black kids don't really run away because it's only gonna get worse. You know what I mean?
My mother is Jamaican. Should have said, "Well, if you're going, stay." Listen, my mother was the type of person when I first moved to Canada, they were telling me about like child protective services and if my mother ever beat me, how I could call the police. So I came home and I said to my mom, "Well, kids are telling me this." She's like, "Go on and call the police, and I'll beat you right in front of them, so they have a reason." Like, yeah, my mother didn't
back
play.
in the 80s.
Yeah, so my ass was like, where was I going?
It was a tougher world.
Yeah, my mother would have beat me right in front
now
of the
they
car.
actually will take you to jail, but
Oh my
back then,
God.
wasn't nobody saving you
Oh my God, I'm
from
done.
domestic violence when you was a kid. What's the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you while having sex?
We know your booty ain't in the
Outside
air.
of me just sharing my booty phobia, I don't know. Like that was about. I really went there with y'all. She's gonna turn that into a clip.
I can't turn it into a whole clip.
So I'm gonna be on Beyonce's internet, Beyonce and Blue Ivy internet, talking about my fear of having my butt in the air. So
oh my God!
I really shared with y'all tonight. I hope y'all appreciate it. Man.
So you have nothing embarrassing has ever happened. So you haven't farted. You haven't not. I'm just trying to.
Outside of like getting busted in on, but that's never really.
People didn't bust in on you.
Like college, you know that we used to try to bust in on.
See, I didn't live. I lived at home,
Yeah,
so
that's roommate life. Like
so you
door like what? What's going on over here?
Okay,
that type of energy.
All right. What do you love most about living together? These moments. We have the most fun together. Again, as much as Rob gets on my nerves and I get on his, because culturally we're different and we're different in so many ways. The ways that we are so very similar, we can have the most fun. Like Robert and I could just do this. We will do this show forever.
We'll be watching reaction videos and just going crazy.
Yeah, like we just have fun together, and I just couldn't imagine being in a space where we were having a relationship and didn't live together. I don't actually think we would survive a relationship. Not like we're two people who couldn't have this relationship living in separate places. First of all, you're very needy, and so am I.
I was just gonna say, please, we're needy in different ways.
So us not living together would not be a thing.
Needy in different ways. Don't ever let her act like she is not high maintenance.
I am. Whatever.
What is going on?
What? You get all the sex questions?
Trying to have me sounding like Freak-a-Leak tonight.
Freak-a-Leak.
What's something non-sexual that turns you on? Okay, that's actually not that bad.
Thank you.
That's
Give me more
actually
question.
non-sexual. Intelligentsia. Like
In,
that's I am
as
very
in
much what the
intelligence?
kids say, a sapiosexual.
Sapiosexual.
Yes,
You are a
like
sapiosexual.
you could have a 10 body and you start talking and it sounds like Michelle,
Oh my God,
and
Robert.
I'm like, we're done.
Oh Lord,
We're
Robert.
done.
Okay, we're gonna, yeah. What life experience did you miss out on? What you actually just talked about, living off campus. Kind of like when I finally lived on my own, it wasn't the same, right? I think I would have loved, and then I had a kid. I had a child. I graduated from university pregnant. And so like maybe it was a good thing I didn't live on my own earlier because whenever
I wasn't screwing up nobody's life of my own.
Shut up. First of all, I have a very accomplished daughter.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying for you. I'm saying for me, I was only screwing up my own life. Like
but I wish I had that experience of the dorms and all of that. And so that's why I'm excited that Trian gets to have it, if it only for a few months of. So my daughter's doing an exchange program in England for 3 months, and she gets to live in a dorm and do all of that stuff. And I think I wish I'd kind of had that life experience. So it's one question each, like left in the bowl. So let's see which one you get.
Empty it.
No, we emptied it. Thank you guys for sticking with us. This is a really good, and now you know so much about Robert. Oh no, you know what? We're gonna actually, I realized that this was a repeat question, so that question we'll both answer last, whatever it is.
What's the most ambitious thing you've ever attempted? I think just this whole social media, public persona slash it's just me type of life, like that. There's little inklings that happen every so often that really make me feel like that this is gonna become a lot more than either one of us thinks it's gonna be. And like it is the ball player in me. There was aspects of the spotlight that I very much was attracted to and loved and even miss to this day. And then there's certain aspects of it that I'm like, yeah, it's always a double-edged coin of any of this. But that's something that we decided we was going to do together. It is an ambitious undertaking to say, hey, we're going to open up our relationship and share it with the world.
No, you just shared a lot.
But seriously, like that's really what we are. We want to change these conversations that much. Like again, our hope is that some of y'all might walk away and be like, "Damn, a prenup ain't that bad of a thing." Like I didn't know you could put other things. It's like a recipe book. You can put in it whatever you need to make the relationship, the marriage stronger. And of course, it's in the event of, and like I said on the thing, is death also. You know what I'm saying? I know we all like to think death is some far off date, but we could get, your person could get technically married on Tuesday and one of them could die on Friday. And that prenup is gonna, again, kind of have y'all
make sure the government don't take your shit.
Force you to have some of those thoughts and conversations and actually frame it out in writing so you can say, hey, this is signed and notarized and this is this person's wishes. Estate planning, like that's something that as a community, I know. Well, again, it helps to have assets to have an estate. You know what I mean? But we've got to grow and develop. And again, you can't have assets if you've never talked about them.
What do you want to acquire? How do you want to acquire it? By when do you want to acquire it? The government will take our shit.
These microphones, these laptops, all these things have some type of monetary value. It might not be nothing but pennies, but again, it's our pennies, and to make sure they stay in our hands, that's kind of what prenups can be utilized for as well. So again, that we hope that's kind of the takeaway from tonight, is that it's not a bad thing. It's not a trying to have a reason to divorce you and not give you nothing. Like, men do not marry with that type of mindset. I can almost certainly say that. Like, why would I marry you to dump you? I could just fuck you to dump you.
Oh.
What are you talking about? Y'all not holding men to them type of standards no more.
That is facts. As Twin Thing has, like, that is fact. Why would I marry you to dump you when I can just fuck you to dump you? The government ain't got, because we both know with divorces, the law gets involved, and you got to go and give them some kind of reason to sever a relationship you no longer even want to be in, right? So why would a man put himself through that, considering men choose marriage only to turn around and say, I don't really want this anymore?
No, men don't really walk into marriage planning on it ending or wanting it to end. Again, that's why 80% of women file divorce. Men are willing to fucking fight through it. But I know they would want to think, oh, because 80% of men be on some bullshit causing the marriage to be bad. No.
Well, that's why we have fuck your feelings, right?
No, that's not.
Again, if the relationship is just based on feelings, yeah, 80% are gonna file for divorce. But again, if you want to stay together, guys, you got to really create a plan to stay together. What does it look like for you to stay together?
Like?
We've had to talk about that. How hard are you willing to work to stay together? We've talked about that. How hard are we willing? I left a whole country. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Facts, like, man. What is it are you willing to do to be in a relationship and stay together? I left a whole life and I got something for it. So if BB Cutie is still online, that's something to talk about. Part of me leaving where I was from and being comfortable is I got to be able to pursue my goals and my passions and my dreams and not have to worry about how the lights are turned on. That's what you gave me in return, right? I always say to people, I gave up my independence for my freedom.
And I gave up my independence for my peace. I don't got to worry about my fucking house no more.
Facts,
I just got to go provide.
Look at that.
Yeah. It's an equal trade-off.
Fuck your feelings for life.
And I know when I come home with that door, I might deal with stank, but I don't deal with no uncoachable, unagreeable, irate person who, when I say let's go left, is going to stand there because she want to go right, or just going to go right without me.
Facts. So, again, we want to thank our sponsor. God, I realized she has not been scrolling in the background because I had Kanye up here, all day. Right? But I do want to thank our sponsors, Sorrel and
bear with us for a couple weeks. We're gonna be figuring this out.
Robert, the yawning, clearly you're tired. So we want to thank our sponsors, Sorrel and Sage. Make sure that you visit them at shopsorrelandsage.com at their website, or Sorrel and Sage CA. They are having a sale until the end of the month. You definitely want to go and purchase their products. They make the most amazing products for sensitive skin and sensitive soul. It really is some of the best products I've ever tried, even on Rob's skin, and he's got some skin that we got to deal with.
Great products, man, for sure.
So again, if people don't understand what fuck your feelings is, it means that your feelings don't get to invalidate the feelings of your partner and vice versa. If your goal is to stay together, it will require a little fuck your feelings. So we want to thank everybody. We appreciate you. Let us know your thoughts, your feelings, whatever is going on. Let us know what topics you want to talk about. And since Rob just let you into our whole business, well, his whole bati up a door business, you know, we're not afraid to share. So we will see you all next week. And until then, Robert, do you have the thing? Because we are all discombobulated. Where's the thing so we can log off? Where is the mouse pad and all that? Yes, sir. Yeah, so we can log off. So thank you guys so much. We will see you next week. And goodbye.
Goodbye. All right, that's that. Go ahead and kill that feed. Yeah, we need some.